Hey guys, welcome to the Clubhouse. I'm Billy Jackson, and today's video is going to be on obscure TV shows to watch while on this lockdown. Now, if you're smart, you're already watching stuff like your Game of Thrones, your Dexters, your Vikings, and Breaking Bads, all that good stuff. But if you're like me, you do a lot of work on the computer. And while I'm doing that, those shows are good because you have to watch them. You have to keep your eyes on it and you have to pay attention to what's going on to actually get the full enjoyment out of them. But these are shows that I like to have on the background while I'm doing work on the computer. And they are pure gold. Okay, all these picks are pure gold, and not for the as much for the entertainment value in the more conventional sense, but more of a respect value and showing how I like seeing the progression of how stuff was done from the 60s to the 80s to the 90s to today. And these are the shows that do that for me. So here we go. My first pick, Land of the Lost. Now this show, I have every episode, in my collection, but you can find this stuff on YouTube, and it's magic. I love all Land of the Lost, and of course I was a kid when I was watching this, but and it looked real to me as a kid. But now you go back, of course it's dated for what we have today, but I love the nostalgic feeling it gives to me. And this show isn't going to win any Oscars for special effects, but maybe back in the day it did, because I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the first show to incorporate green screen to the TV screen. And I think that's just amazing how we've gone from this to this. That's just amazing to me. And it took 30 years to get to close that gap. But I love how they made stuff work back in the days. Like this is one of my favorite scenes. I mean, come on. They had her on a little rotisserie, a little action figure on a rotisserie in a little tube, but they made it work. They made it seem like she was falling down a tube, for a 6-year-old back in the 70s. That was awesome and amazing. And that episode, I think it's called The Hole, is one of my favorite episodes. So check it out. I think you can find it on YouTube. But love Land of the Lost. Enoch, of course, is my favorite character on the show, besides Will when he freaks out.
We've got to make him tell us how to use it.
It always gets me. I love it. What are we going to do? He's always freaking out. But the actors in this is just great performances, especially for back then. I mean, they were overacting, but that's back when overacting wasn't even a real thing, I think. You don't notice it because they're in such an intense situation. I think they're just being intense. But love Land of Lost. I have it in the background all the time, so I think you should too. So anyway, let's get back. Let's jump ahead 20 years and go with another one of my favorite shows that I watch as many times as I can when I'm not watching, everything that needs to be watched, and I want something in the background that I can kind of pay attention to, and that's V from 1984. Now, if you don't know this show, it's about, aliens coming to Earth and going, hey, we're friendly, we want to share our resources if you share your resources with us, and everything's hunky-dory. But a reporter goes onto the mothership. He finds it, kind of weird that they would be like this. And they come to find out that there are actually these lizard people dressing up as humans and actually capturing and killing people for food. And this series was awesome when it came out in the 80s. I mean, it's still awesome today. Now, granted, some special effects are terrible, and some are awesome and amazing, like the ships flying and the laser beams. That kind of stuff is really cool. And the ships hovering over the cities and everything. I thought that was really amazing for its time. And granted, I was 12 when this came out. So, things look a lot different when you're 12 years old. And it looks real to you, especially back then. I mean, stuff they have today, is amazing. This is no Independence Day, but it was the Independence Day of the 1980s for us. But anyway, love the series. Marc Singer and Michael Ironside at their greatest. So check it out. And if you didn't know, it has Robert Englund in it before he was Freddy. So if you want to see him kind of being like this cowardly, you know, he's one of the aliens that's a sympathizer for the humans. So he's actually a good guy in the show. So if you're interested in seeing him in that kind of role, check this show out. All right, but if you're into something more modern and you want something kind of out of the box and you're not used to seeing, check out Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Now, I was late to the show. This came out last year, and I was late to the show watching it because I really didn't think I would like it, judging by the trailers and stuff. But man, my buddy Ricky turned me on to the show, and it is awesome. I can't wait for them to do a season 2. I mean, bring it on. I mean, this show is kind of like X-Men. If you had the X-Men in a murder mystery with humor, that's what this show is. And if you like, if you kind of like the show The Boys, it's kind of a toned down version of The Boys. I feel like, you know, not like humans going against superheroes, but just the tone of the show really reminded me of The Boys. Or actually, when I watched The Boys, it reminded me of this show because I saw The Boys after I saw this. But I think you'd really enjoy it. Now, this isn't the kind of show you'd want in the background like the other ones. This is a show you could sit down and watch that you wouldn't normally click on, you know, like your Game of Thrones and your Breaking Bads and all the top tier, you know. But I think for most recent television that has come out, I think this is definitely a top tier show that kind of flew under everybody's radar. But you should definitely, absolutely check it out. It's funny. It's, you know, got a mystery element to it. And I think you could really enjoy it. And it's basically about these kids that were born with these superpowers. And when they first were born, you know, a lot of them were killed because people were scared of them. But a select few were like hidden and taken care of by this guy who they all thought of as their dad. Well, he gets killed and they all, and you know, they grow up and they go their separate ways. But they all come together in the series to kind of find out who killed their dad. And it is awesome. So definitely check out Umbrella I can't even say it. Umbrella Academy if you have not checked it out. And if you have, I want to know what your thoughts on it are. So guys, those are my picks for some obscure TV shows that you wouldn't normally, you know, seek out. Seek these out and watch them. They are pure gold. And I think you'll actually enjoy them. And you think that you wouldn't, I think you really would. So, what are your guys' picks for some obscure television? Let me know what you think I should watch. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And as always, make yourself happy every day. And the only way to do that is to remember, the only thing stopping you is you stopping. Bam!